Hi everyone, welcome back. I am so excited to be with you all again. It is a new season of Simply Local and I have a couple great announcements. First off, we have a new partner with Simply Local this season and that is Waitrose. And if you're not familiar with this fantastic brand and product line, it is a brand coming out of the UK and they specialize in household products, personal care items, and for us, food, lots of food products. They have fine flours, pastas, dried goods. They also have delicious cookies and different biscuits and fine wines. And my favorite thing they have, or one of my favorite products they have a fabulous line of coffees. And that brings me to my second announcement. It is International Coffee Day and Waitrose is helping us celebrate. And we're gonna do a super easy and simple tiramisu recipe using some Waitrose products, and I cannot wait to show you. So let's get started. Here in the Caribbean, we celebrate our rich and diverse heritage every day in every pot. The story of our shared experiences is told in every bite of our favorite dishes. Join us as we explore Caribbean cuisine, where every dish is simply local. Just before we get going, if you are loving eatahfood channel and Simply Local, be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Instagram. So we're celebrating International Coffee Day and we're making one of the most famous coffee-based desserts, and that is tiramisu. Now I know you're thinking this sounds like it's gonna be fancy, it's gonna be a little complicated, but it's not. I'm gonna walk you through step by step, and every time you go to the restaurants and you see tiramisu on the menu, you can rest assured that if you wanted that tomorrow, you can make it yourself. So we are using today our main ingredient, which is the Italian blend ground coffee from Waitrose. And what I love about the Waitrose line of coffee is that it actually gives you descriptors on how the coffee is gonna taste. So sometimes you pick a coffee or you have coffee grounds and you're not too sure how strong it's gonna be. If you prefer something a bit lighter, they actually give you the descriptors here. So it says here intense, dark, and distinctive. So we're going for tiramisu, which is usually sort of an espresso based dessert. So we need something super strong, and this is an Italian blend ground coffee, so tiramisu is an Italian dessert. We're good to go. All right, so to start off, we're going to make our own coffee liqueur, and we're gonna soak these very delicious little rich Highland shorty biscuits from Waitrose in the coffee liqueur, and then we're going to build our tiramisu from that. So let's start off with the coffee liqueur. So I'm going to open a fresh bag of my Waitrose Italian blend ground coffee, and this is strength 5. Again, they tell you exactly how strong it's going to be. So this is strength 5, which is the highest, so you know it's going to be super strong. And already, what is more appetizing than the scent of coffee? I'm instantly hungry. I cannot wait to eat this tiramisu. So I have my coffee maker here prepared with the filter, and I'm just going to add a huge scoop. I'm using about half a cup of ground coffee. I'm going to add it right into my coffee maker and just get that going. All right, it's kind of funny. I am one of those people, I drink my coffee black. And I remember when I was growing up, my dad would always make black coffee and I would be like, how on earth are you drinking that? And by the time I was about 20 years old, I was a black coffee fiend. So I love to taste the nuances in coffee, and this coffee definitely has that. I really, really do genuinely love it. So our coffee has just finished brewing. It smells incredible in here. So I'm gonna just measure out 1 cup of hot coffee, and this is very strong brewed coffee. We need to make sure those flavors come through in our dessert. And I have a cup of granulated sugar. So I'm adding the sugar to this pot here. The pot is already super hot. And I am just going to add my coffee right to this. So just gonna allow this to cook down and sort of thicken a bit. All right, so our coffee syrup is starting to thicken. It's bubbling nicely. Kind of looks like stewed chicken, but it's not. So I'm just gonna remove this from the flame. Kind of stir it down a bit. It's definitely getting to that thickness. All the coffee flavors have kind of concentrated because some excess water has evaporated. And now we're going to add, very important ingredient. I have here some dark rum. So I'm just gonna add this in. And there you go, you have your own homemade coffee liqueur. So just gonna stir this in. If you don't have rum, we're using rum today. If you don't have rum, you can use like a cognac or brandy. And if you don't want to use alcohol, if you must, you can leave it out. But tiramisu is something that has alcohol in it. It's known for that. So I would definitely recommend using it. But if you don't drink, you rather not have any alcohol, you just take it out. But you cannot leave out the coffee. If you don't leave out the coffee, then why are we even here today, huh? And then from here, we're gonna dip our cookies. But we're not gonna get to that yet. We're just gonna let this cool. So now we're gonna move on to our mascarpone cream filling for our tiramisu. So first things first, we need to crack our eggs, and we're gonna separate our egg yolks from the whites. So you can kind of reserve the whites if you wanna make a healthy omelette tomorrow. You can definitely use that for that. If you don't want to use eggs or you observe an eggless diet, then you can just use whipped cream and mascarpone cheese. However, the eggs definitely adds to the richness of the tiramisu cream, and it also is sort of the more traditional way of doing tiramisu. So right here I have a pot of water that's simmering gently, and I'm going to add a heat-proof glass bowl here. I'm just going to reduce the heat, and what I'm doing is I'm making my double boiler, and that's going to help me cook these eggs. So we're not using any raw eggs today. We're going to actually whip the eggs over this heat so that it cooks, and it also denatures the proteins and makes for a stiffer sort of tiramisu cream. Right, so I'm just going to whisk this over the heat, and what you're going to see after a while is that the eggs are actually going to lighten up in color and in texture. So this usually takes about 5 to 10 minutes, so just be patient and just keep whipping away. So just a quick tip, when you're using your eggs, you want to make sure the eggs are at room temperature. It will allow this process to happen a bit faster. And as you can see already, it's starting to thicken up. It's kind of getting to that like pale yellow color. And what we're looking for, essentially, we want all these sugar crystals to dissolve into our egg yolks. That means that it's getting to the appropriate temperature that we can add in our mascarpone cream. So our sabayon is about done, and what I'm doing now is I'm just going to place it over a water bath and just kind of stop the cooking. But as you can see, our 6 egg yolks have thickened up quite a bit. I'm actually going to clean this off, and I'm going to allow this to cool for a couple minutes. And in the meanwhile, I'm going to whip some whipped cream, and that's going to be the third ingredient in our mascarpone cream filling. So we have mascarpone cheese, our sabayon, which is our egg custard, and whipped cream. So right now I'm whipping some cream by hand. If you want to use your stand mixer, by all means do, but you must keep an eye on it, because if you whip cream too much, then you're going to end up with butter. So that's why I like to do my whipped cream by hand. That way I can control the texture of the whipped cream. And just a few tips, you really want to make sure that your bowl and your whisk is extremely spotlessly clean, because any additive or any like foreign matter that is in the whipped cream is gonna impede it from whipping, aka it's just not gonna whip in at all. And then you want to make sure that your whipped cream itself is super cold, and that you're in a cool room, or just all these things help the air get trapped into the cream a lot faster, thicken up. So even as I'm talking here, we're getting to that nice soft texture that I want, just a little bit more. You don't want it to be too stiff, because remember, we have to fold all these 3 things together and make it into one. And there we go. Nice, perfect, nice soft piece. So we're on the home stretch to our tiramisu. I'm going to now fold my softened mascarpone cheese into my sabayon. Just mix this in. My sabayon has gotten to about room temperature, so I'm just gonna fold this in. And you don't want to beat the crap out of it, because you want it to still be nice and light and airy. So I'm adding all my mascarpone in, just like so. And then just gently folding this together. And I'm very glad I let the mascarpone sit out, because now it's so much easier to handle. Just like that. So I'm turning the bowl and I'm folding, literally folding the batter onto itself. And to this, I'm going to add some vanilla essence. And then last but not least, I'm going to add in my freshly whipped cream. Just like that. And just give it a nice gentle fold. Okay everyone, so we've come to my favorite part besides eating of making tiramisu, which is now building it up. And it's really easy, it's very simple. Today, instead of ladyfingers, which is using the traditional tiramisu, we're using the essential Waitrose rich Highland shorty biscuits, and these are delicious. My producer here has been snacking on them. I promise you, this tin was full, this container was full, and it's like had little gaps missing. We see you, he leaves a lot of clues. All right, so very simply, we're just going to take our biscuits and we're just going to dip each one in our coffee liqueur. And our coffee liqueur now is cooled quite a bit. I'm just gonna give it a little turn, and then we're just gonna place it right into our dish. So one misconception about tiramisu is that it has to be soaked completely in the coffee liqueur, and you don't want it to be too soggy. That way, you know, it will just kind of become mush as it sets, and we don't want that. We still want it to be able to cut and slice beautifully so you can see all those layers. So I'm just kind of staggering them in the bowl. There we go, and just placing them. Right, so you can just fill in the gaps where it's missing. You can kind of break them up. It's all gonna become all one anyways, so you don't have to be too perfect with it. Just want to make sure that all the gaps are filled. So that is our first layer, and then of course we're going to top it with our beautiful mascarpone cream. Right, and we're going to repeat this until we reach to the top. And then to top it all off, very traditionally, we're going to add some cocoa powder. All right, so before we dig in, we have to let this set in the freezer or refrigerator for at least 4 hours, or ideally overnight. You know me, I have a little bit of a patience issue, so we're gonna probably leave it there for a couple hours, and then I'm gonna cut it, and I'm gonna show you guys the cross section, and we're gonna try this dessert. So I'll catch you in a few. All right guys, it's been a hot 6 hours, and this has been in the fridge, kind of just coming together. So now it's time for the moment of truth. So we're gonna do the old knife and swipe so that we don't get any smudges on the existing slices that are still inside. So we're gonna just go in and give it a nice cut. And then clean it off. There we go. And there we have it. Fabulous tiramisu every single time. So you still like the little bits of the biscuit, as well as the mascarpone cream, these beautiful layers, and on top that beautiful dusting of cocoa powder. Cannot wait to try this. So what are we waiting for? Y'all, you get to keep all the bragging rights for this one. Coffee flavors coming through. Love that mascarpone filling. It's super smooth, really nice and rich. You don't have to go to any fancy restaurants. You can make this right at home. I just showed you. All you need is the Waitrose products and a little bit of elbow grease, and you got it. Special thanks to our friends at Waitrose for sponsoring this video. Waitrose products can be found at all Massy Stores nationwide. And I'm gonna get back to this tiramisu, gonna cut up a couple pieces for my family, but mostly gonna eat all for myself. And I'll see you next time. Always a pleasure having you in the kitchen with me. Bye.